Greetings all, my name is JD from Studio 2105. Welcome back to Direct Access MixStream, and you're watching a brand new episode of Weekly Update Wednesday. This week's featured question is going to tackle the topic of dynamic sounding vocals. And note, this does not mean vocals that are recorded with a dynamic microphone, but it means vocals that are, very dynamic in nature, soft in some parts and very loud in other parts as well. First of all, my apologies, this video is a little bit late. Been incredibly busy this past week. Sometimes trying to keep to this weekly video schedule. It's a little bit tough, man, right? A lot of stuff has been going on, a lot of projects, a lot of mixes that have really short and quick urgent deadlines, right? Because of the fasting month and the Raya season and all that. Throughout this video, you might hear some background noises. I do apologize for that also. I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon, and there's some construction work that's going on downstairs and also I think a few doors away as well. But anyway, if you are new to this channel, as usual, a warm welcome to you. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do subscribe right down below, and don't forget to click on the notification bell as well. A big shout out and thank you to all the patrons who support the channel financially, right? I really truly appreciate you. Oh, don't forget to sign for the email list, and also if you want to become a patron, head on down to www.patreon.com/studio2105. Alright, enough with all the rambling, let's get down to this week's featured question. I have a song that starts softly and gets louder towards the end. What is the best way to record the vocals? Should I switch from a condenser in the beginning to a dynamic for the loud parts? First things first, don't switch microphones in between the parts, okay? I highly discourage you from doing that. Now, the change of tone is going to be so drastic that it's going to be very hard to make the vocal sound consistent later on in the mix. There is still some misunderstandings, that condenser microphones cannot handle loud sound sources. And while that may be true for some vintage tube microphones, and for ribbon microphones, right, modern designs are more than capable of handling, very loud sounds, right? Sometimes even ear-splitting sound pressure levels. My trusty Audio-Technica 804050 that can handle up to 147 dB SPL. That's the sound intensity of a jet engine during takeoff. Now, when I was working back in Secret Sound Studios also, I found myself often using a Neumann U87, right, to record the kick drum, not a microphone which anyone would usually dare to associate with recording loud sound sources, okay? But these microphones can handle loud sounds with no problem. So this question it pops up from time to time, and especially if you are new into recording and they find themselves struggling with trying to handle very dynamic sources. But the answer is actually really simple. This is what's referred to as riding the gain. So what you do is that you increase or you decrease the input gain levels accordingly. You start by getting the singer to maybe sing the song, and set the input gain levels on the input knob to the optimum level. As a rule of thumb, you will want to aim for -18 dBFS. That's -18 decibels full scale, in the DAW. Check your meters, okay? Always, that's very important. So note the position of the input knob. Use a marker or maybe a piece of masking tape, and mark the position of the input knob. Now next, when you get to the loud section, do the same thing. Set the appropriate gain level and mark the position of the input knob. So when it comes time to record, all you have to do is ride the input gain up or down accordingly as appropriate. Now, if the different soft and loud sections can be recorded separately, that makes life a lot easier. Record the soft section, set the input gain for the soft section, record it. The next take will be maybe the loud section. turn it down to the position which hopefully you've already marked properly, right? And then you record the loud part. Now, but if the vocal performance, right, requires it to transition, it needs to crescendo from a soft to a loud part, then riding the input gain is pretty much the only option that you have. You might mess it up the first couple of times, but after you hear the song, you listen to how it's delivered by the singer, you'll get the hang of it, and soon you'll be riding the gain like a boss. Now think of it like mix automation, right? Except that you are manually doing it and performing it during the recording itself. Now, if you are a little bit apprehensive, technically, you could just set the input gain to handle the loudest parts, right? Just to ensure that, right, you're not clipping the input, and leave it at that. It's perfectly okay. That's perfectly fine. Modern AD converters have good enough dynamic range and signal to noise ratio. If you have a decently quiet and a well-treated room, there shouldn't be any major quality issues. Hey, yes, the signal levels of the quiet parts are going to be very, very low. The waveform is going to look very, very small, but you could easily clip gain or automate, right, the levels in the DAW later on. Last but not least, I highly discourage the technique of, right, backing away and backing off from the microphone, as it again introduces a very, very drastic change in tone, which is going to be problematic when it comes time to mix. Some singers adopt that technique from live performances where they pull the mic away at the loud parts, but if you're not a very experienced singer, and if it's done incorrectly, or if, let's say, the room acoustics aren't great, what you're going to do you're going to end up, firstly, the tone's going to change very drastically, but you're also going to, pick up some of the room ambience, and sometimes you get a bit of a phasey sounding vocal. So, right, I highly discourage it. If you spot your singer doing it, try to discourage them from doing that, okay? Ask them to maintain a consistent distance and orientation to the microphone capsule. Same thing, some singers, instead of backing off, what they do is they turn their heads. When they turn their heads, and when it's off axis from the microphone, you see the high frequency response, the high end response is gonna change very, very drastically. Some singers have that habit. Tell them, all right, to try and break it. Don't use that technique. That's something that's appropriate for the stage, for live performances. Don't do that in a recording scenario. Work that input gain, okay? Ride that input gain level, and you'll be on your way to getting great recordings and being able to handle dynamic sound sources, regardless of what they may be. It may be vocals, it could be instruments, right? The same principle will apply. Hopefully you found this video useful and informative. Thank you so much for your questions. I would love to hear your comments and your feedback, right? Please do leave them down below. I have a pinned comment down, right, in the for Q&A purposes. Please leave your questions there, and I will always get back to you. Please do leave a like and do share this with your friends. If you're not yet a subscriber, click on the subscribe button. Don't forget, click on the notification bell as well. Consider becoming a patron, right? Special perks and benefits for all patron subscribers, okay? Check it out. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in another video real soon. Stay safe, stay happy and healthy. Happy recording and mixing. Peace, love, and music.